The meaning that you attach to external events creates the emotional response that you have to those events. In other words, you feel the way that you think. This is the central concept behind the most powerful journaling technique that I found when it comes to bringing my mental health back into balance when my mood goes dark, or my anxiety flares up, or depression starts to creep in. We can all lead happier and more productive lives by thinking in healthy ways, so give this technique a try the next time you need a little bit of a mental tune-up. Have you ever noticed how different two people's reactions can be to the exact same event? Maybe two people get laid off from work from the same company on the same day, and while one person initially feels upset, they're able to view it overall as an opportunity to learn and grow, while the other person might take it as a statement about their worth as a human being, feel like a total failure, and then become angry and bitter and depressed. Why is that? We all experience a continuous stream of positive and negative and neutral events, and each of those events have to be given a conscious meaning before we experience any emotional response to them. That means that it's our interpretation of those events that create our mood on any given day. Now, of course, it's totally normal to experience sadness, disappointment, or anger when bad things happen to us. But when those feelings linger and start to interfere with our happiness long term, it's probably because we're not interpreting those experiences in a healthy way. Now, the purpose of the journaling technique that I'm about to show you is to expose the unhealthy thinking patterns that create a lot of our stress, anxiety, and depressed moods. But before we can do that, you need to understand the different cognitive distortions that can crop up in our thinking patterns to create those negative feelings. Now, a cognitive distortion is an exaggerated or irrational thought pattern that leads to an inaccurate perception of reality. And this idea comes from a type of therapy called cognitive behavioral therapy. Now, according to the theory behind this mode of therapy, these distortions are always what's behind a person's anxiety, depression, or just their general negative outlook on the world. Now, there are quite a few of these distortions, so I'm just going to give you a few examples here, and then I'll leave a link in the description to check out the rest if you're interested. So the first one is all or nothing thinking, and this one is about seeing things only in black or white. So my business idea flopped, that means I am a total failure. Next is disqualifying the positive, and this one's about rejecting positive experiences, claiming that they don't count for some reason or another. So let's say you get a promotion and a raise at work, but then you think, well, it was just easier to promote me than find someone else, so that doesn't really count as an achievement. The next one is jumping to conclusions. So you jump to this negative conclusion even though there aren't really any facts to support the conclusion. This one is one that really crops up a lot for me. Tell me if you can relate. So you send someone a text message, you haven't heard back from them after a day or two, and you just assume that they're either mad at you and you've done something wrong, or they're dead. Next is emotional reasoning. So this is really just about thinking something is true just because you feel like it is. So I feel like a failure, therefore I must be a failure. And labeling. So attaching a negative label to yourself or to someone else. So I'm a bad mother. There's personalization, so seeing yourself as the cause of some negative event that you weren't actually responsible for. It's my fault that my son failed at algebra. There's overgeneralization, so you see one single negative event as a never-ending pattern of defeat. I always hit every single red light every single time I'm out driving. And catastrophizing. So this is exaggerating the importance of things. This is another favorite of mine. So, oh my God, I can't believe I made that mistake. My reputation is ruined. I'm probably gonna be fired, and then I'm gonna be drummed right out of town. Okay, so let's get to how we actually get over these cognitive distortions. So first, we're gonna write down the thought that we're having, and whatever that moment is, we're going to identify the cognitive distortion that's creating our unhealthy interpretation of the event. And then we're gonna write down a more rational and objective response. So let's try out a real example. There are a few variations, but we're gonna start with the triple column technique. So going back to the example of losing a job, our initial thought might be, I am a total failure. Now we need to identify the cognitive distortion that's at play. Now there are a few of them, but the first one that comes to mind is all or nothing thinking. So your rational response might be, it's impossible for anyone to be a total failure. You know, I wouldn't have got this job to begin with if I'd never done a single thing right. I have value to offer, and I'm capable of finding another job eventually. This loss is not a reflection of my value as a human being. Now, once you get familiar with the cognitive distortions, or just if you don't have the list handy, you can actually get rid of that central column for cognitive distortions and just focus on coming up with a more rational response. The idea is to just talk back to your negative thoughts, looking for the objective truth. Now, conversely, if you want to take this a step further, you can add a few more columns like this. So you'll write out the situation that prompted the thought, the emotions you felt along with your rating of each one, and the thoughts that arose in that situation. Then you'll pinpoint the cognitive distortion, create a rational response, and then reassess how you feel. So this is actually a real situation that happened to me when I was working at an ad agency. So the situation, my boss laughed in my face when I pitched my idea. The emotions, I felt 99% angry and 50% sad. And my automatic thoughts were, I must suck at my job. So the cognitive distortion here is all or nothing thinking. And my rational response could be, I put a lot of effort into that pitch. My boss's reaction was totally rude and uncalled for, and this just reflects poorly on him, not on me. And then the outcome, what I felt afterwards, was my anger was reduced down to 50% and sadness down to 10%. So the cool thing about this more complicated version is seeing in real time how your mood shifts from before you've done the exercise to what it's like after the exercise. You can actually see how much doing the exercise has helped in reducing the intensity of those negative emotions. Now, I cannot overstate how powerful this journaling technique's been for my own mental health. It helps me when I'm just dealing with the regular ups and downs of life, but it's also helped me through some of the most dark times in my life. And if you don't want to hear about those times, you might want to stop the video right here. Still here? Okay, so in my early 20s, I slipped into a really bad depression. I was using drugs and alcohol pretty heavily to cope with a past trauma. I had just left a really unhealthy relationship. I was completely miserable at my job. I had no skills, no secondary education, no direction. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. At that point, it really just hurt to exist. Like, I would wake up every morning and just feel this crushing weight of depression. That's when I discovered this journaling tool, and it was inside this book called Feeling Good by David Burns, which I can't recommend enough. And as you can see, it is well worn because I've used it so much. All the pages are falling apart at this point, but highly recommend this book if it's something you want to look further into. Now, one thing I do want to point out here, though, is that if you are feeling depressed, the first thing to do is to speak to a professional. See your doctor or your therapist before trying any treatment plans on your own, and don't consider this journaling technique as a replacement for talking to a professional, even though it really can make a great complement to that. So, have you heard of or tried this technique before? If you have, let me know if it's been helpful, or if you have any other techniques that work even better for you, let me know in the comments. Now, if you're at a stage in your life where you feel a reinvention coming on and you're over 40, like me, check out Reinventing Yourself Over 40. And if you like this video, please hit that like button. Please subscribe. It's a huge help for me, and I'll see you next week. Thank you.